There are moments in life when silence feels louder than sound, when a pause between alphabets, words, or sentences, or the instant before a breath turns around, holds something vast and infinite. Most of us brush past these moments as if they were nothing. But for those who've tasted that silence, even for a fraction of a second, it becomes clear that nothing is the most real thing there is. Every spiritual tradition speaks about presence, awareness, or being in the now. But long before these became wellness slogans, ancient mystics of Kashmir described a way to directly enter that presence, not as an act of concentration, but as a natural recognition. One of the most profound of these teachings lies in the Vijnana Bhairav Tantra, a conversation between Bhairav and Bhairavi, where the goddess Bhairavi asks, how can one know the essence of the divine through ordinary life? And Bhairav answers with 112 doors of awareness, each one simple, direct, immediate. Among them, there's a verse that sounds almost innocent. All verses hide many secrets, but he fails to reveal what hides behind this one, which is a secret to the highest recognition.
Maruto tarbahirvapi viyadyugmani vartanat Bhairavya Bhairavasyaitham Bhairavi vyajyate vapuhu.
When the breath, the vital current, moves inward and then outward through that space, that gap, the inner and outer, by the movement of the voids themselves, O Bhairavi, the body of Bhairav is revealed. This is no ordinary breathing technique. This is not about controlling or counting your breath. It's the recognition of the silent doorway that exists between every inhalation and exhalation. The verse says, between the two spaces, inner and outer, the body of Bhairav, the infinite consciousness, becomes visible. So what does that mean? And how can it be lived in the midst of our daily noise and movement? Let's explore. When the breath moves in and out, there's always a pause, a gap, that is neither inhalation nor exhalation. Most of the time, we miss it because our attention is scattered outward. But if you gently rest awareness there without trying to fix it or hold it, something begins to open. That pause is like a tiny crack in the wall of ordinary perception, through which the light of pure awareness streams in. It's not about watching the breath. It's about sensing that absence, that instant of stillness where movement ceases, but awareness remains. The gap is the womb of Bhairavi, the silent, self-luminous awareness. And from it, Bhairav, the pure consciousness, reveals himself. You don't need a mantra. You don't need effort. In fact, effort disturbs it. It's like trying to see your reflection in a lake. If you keep stirring the water, the reflection will blur. Only in the stillness of the surface does your true image appear. To relate this to daily experience, think of the silence between sounds. Suppose you're sitting in a quiet room. A bird chirps outside, then silence, then the rustling of leaves. The silence between these sounds isn't just an absence, it's a present. Normally, we wait for the next sound. But if you stay in that intermediate silence, something exquisite happens. The mind stops. Awareness stands naked. Even in normal conversations, you can sense this happening between two words, two sentences, or two thoughts. There's a tiny space. That space is not in time. It's beyond time. It's the same opening that Tantra speaks of. If you rest there, even for a moment, you're resting in Bhairav himself, not as an idea, but as pure being. Or take touch. Imagine you dip your hand in cold water and then withdraw it. There comes a moment that's neither cool nor warm, a neutral, weightless state. That instant, that touchless touch, is another doorway. Try rubbing your hands together, and when you stop rubbing, notice the stillness on your skin, that emptiness in the sense of touch. Bhairav hides there too, in that serene neutrality where sensation dissolves but awareness stays awake. Vision also reveals the same secret. You gaze at a candle flame, then you close your eyes. For a few moments, the after image lingers inside, then fades. Rest in that fading. That is the gap between vision and non-vision, or even simpler. After staring at your phone screen, close your eyes. The image dissolves. Stay in that vanishing, that space or gap, which is not dark, but radiant in its stillness, inherently dynamic. This is the same space between that the verse speaks of. You can even experience it through light itself. Enter a dark room and switch on the light, then off again instantly. There's that flash, that flicker, that sudden appearance and disappearance of the world. In that instant of alternation, the universe itself breathes. Unmesh, opening, and nimesh, closing. It is the cosmic eyes of Bhairav, opening and shutting. Everything is created and dissolved in that rhythm, in each moment, where all polarities meet and merge into the oneness that is all things. If you want to explore Umesh and Nimesh and their dance of divinity further, then leave a comment. The same principle flows through the breath. Inhale, pause. Exhale, pause. Don't add mantra or imagination here. Let it be natural. Between breaths, don't do anything. Just remain aware. That awareness herself is Bhairavi. And when she shines forth, Bhairav appears, not as a god outside, but as your own clear, conscious presence. Master Swami Lakshmanjoo once said beautifully, "This is not a technique, it is recognition. It's not about breath, but about Sandhi, the junction, that gap where the breath is not yet formed or where it has disappeared. That is the abodeless abode of Shiva. Enter it not by doing, but by simply being aware." Then Bhairav appears automatically. Bhairavi, then, is not some external goddess. She's the living, self-aware light within you, consciousness knowing itself. When she becomes active, Bhairav, the absolute, the awareness of awareness, shines forth, not as mystical vision or symbol, but as your own state of being, free, vast, and untouched. So, this practice can be done anywhere, not as a ritual, but as a way of returning home, while walking, speaking, touching, seeing, or anytime you notice that you're breathing. It's an opportunity to enter this timeless, infinitely vast moment. Each moment holds a hidden threshold. Whenever you notice the pause, the stillness, the silence, simply rest there. No effort, no expectation. Over time, these glimpses begin to weave themselves into life. The noise doesn't vanish, but your relation to it changes. You begin to sense the unmoving space behind all movement, the silence beneath every sound, the light behind every thought. That is the presence of Bhairav, not distant, not abstract, but the pure reality that you have always been. So, as you return from these words back into your own breath, notice it, not the inhale, not the exhale, but the living doorway between them, that silent shimmer you usually pass over. That's the threshold the ancients pointed towards. The vidhnyan of Bhairav is not inviting you into a philosophy. It's inviting you into yourself, into the part of you that was awake before your first breath and remains awake after every thought dissolves. If even one moment in this listening brought you closer to that still, effortless presence, then the teaching has already begun its work. Carry this with you gently, not as a practice, not as a discipline, but as a remembrance that in every pause, in every gap, in every breath, Bhairavi is already shining, and Bhairav is already there. Thank you for listening, and may the space between your next two breaths open a doorway you never close again. Om Para Bhairava Namaha.